Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm Caitlin Olson, and I am the Access Membership Coordinator here at Kopenbarger Law Firm. And I'm so glad you can join us today at this beautiful Thursday morning. For more than 40 years, our firm has had the privilege of helping California families protect the people and the things that matter most. We believe estate planning is about so much more than preparing documents. It's about creating peace of mind, protecting the people you love, and making sure you have trusted professionals to turn to as life changes, as we all know they do. Today's webinar is all about our Access membership program. Whether you're already one of our Access members, you're thinking about joining the program, or you're simply here to learn more about what we do. Thank you for taking the time to be here. It is designed to help keep your estate plan current and provide ongoing support for you and your family as long as your initial planning is complete.
I'm especially excited to introduce today's web presenter, Victoria Raymond. Victoria is one of our junior partners and estate planning attorney here at the firm. She has helped countless individuals and families create thoughtful estate plans that bring clarity, confidence, and protection for the future. Today, she'll walk you through the benefits of the Access membership program, explain how it works, and show you how it can help you stay connected with our legal team for years to come. After Victoria's presentation, we'll open things up for a live question and answer session. As questions come to mind, feel free to submit them using the question and answer feature at the bottom of your screen. We'll do our best to answer as many as we can, so please bear with us. And if you have questions about your own situation, would be happy to schedule a complimentary consultation with one of our attorneys after today's webinar. You'll also find more information about that in the survey at the end. Thank you again for spending part of your day with us. We appreciate the opportunity to be a part of your planning journey, and we look forward to sharing today's presentation with you. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Victoria Raymond.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. All right, well, let's get you guys started. One of the quick, again, housekeeping things I want to mention is for all of our webinars, they are for educational purposes only. So for anybody listening, this is not legal advice that's specific to you. If you do have specific questions, please feel free to reach out to us so that we can address them one-on-one. If you have not seen our firm in a while or you're new to our firm, we want to give you a quick reintroduction or introduction to who we are. So we do estate planning, as Caitlin mentioned, but our firm goes beyond just the foundation of the documents. We have our estate administration team who's there to walk alongside you or a loved one after a loss. We have our business tax and advanced planning team who's there to assist if you have a higher net worth, more complex questions, a business, a rental property. Your needs expand beyond a revocable living trust. And then most of what we do at Kopenbarger is how you don't want to end up in litigation in the court. But unfortunately, we know sometimes that happens, and we also have our litigation team. But as attorneys, we could not do what we do without our incredible staff. So you got to hear from Caitlin a moment ago. We have our team online with us. We have our staff helping make sure our clients get what they need as efficiently as possible all the time. So when you work with an attorney here, you're working with a full team to help get your needs met. We also have offices all over the state. So if you live in one of our local areas, it is helpful that we are able then to have in-person meetings, but we also do remote appointments over the phone, Zoom, however you need to get a hold of us. One of the things that we'll talk about today is what happens if you're an Access member and you can't get to one of these physical locations due to a medical crisis. That's going to be something that we actually address today. So for a lot of people, they may have heard about the Access membership program over the years of their time with Kopenbarger, but they may not know a whole lot about it. And for people who are newer to our firm, they may know nothing about it. And so today is designed to give you an insight into what is this program, how might it benefit you as an existing member, and what has happened in the last year for your benefits. And for new members or new clients, what could this program mean for you and your family? So first and foremost, what is the Access membership program? Why did it get created? One of the things our founder, Lloyd, really takes to heart is that he wants to ensure that when somebody needs us and needed him at the time, they got an answer as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, having an attorney is not, as many people know, always a cheap endeavor. And for many of us, we did not have a family member sitting around the table with us who could answer those quick and urgent questions that came up. So Lloyd looked around and said, what could benefit our clients beyond just the attorney-client relationship? How can we ensure that our clients have more access to us without always having to incur any legal cost, or at least reduce that legal cost? And so he created the Access Membership Program. Well, over the last few decades, this program has served about 2,500 of our clients extremely well. It has allowed us to, again, have more access with them, to them, and them to us. But the program was really focused on the estate planning side of what we did. What we have discovered in the years that we've been in business is people don't just need estate planning questions answered. They need their administration questions answered. They need their litigation questions more accessible and answered. They need their rental property and LLC questions answered. And the program didn't address those other departments. So, having been in business since 1979 and always telling our clients that your estate plan needs to evolve, we realized, well, you know what? So does our Access Membership Program. Now, if any of you watching right now don't know anything about Cope & Barger, the Access Membership Program in and of itself may not mean a whole lot. So let me explain a little bit more about who we are and go a little bit more into our heart. So you'll see the data on the screen. We've been in business since 1979. We have served over 43,000 people in the state of California, and we have an excess of legal experience combined between all of our staff and attorneys. But what makes us a little bit more unique? Well, one of the things is these education events. The education events that we put on allow us to reach people and answer questions they may not have even realized they had, but again, gives people access to us across the board in ways that a lot of attorneys may not have the time or bandwidth for. But beyond the data, we also, again, like to show our heart. So one of the things with Cope & Barger is we are consistently out in our community. You can see a few photos here from different charity organizations that we've worked with, different events that we've helped sponsor, because we really do believe that giving back is a huge part of why we do what we do, helping enrich the communities that have entrusted us for so long to help protect them on the legal side is as foundational to who we are as the legal piece itself. Now, let's go back to the Access Membership Program. One of the things with the program is, again, it's designed to give you access over the longevity of your lifetime to us as your attorneys. But a lot of people have the mindset that once they set up their planning, the relationship with their attorney is done. They set it down and say, why would I need a program that gives me more access to you when I did the task I was supposed to? Well, the reality is, and what we emphasize all the time, is that things change. The plan that you established 30 years ago may have been fantastic and designed to provide for a decent amount of changes and contingencies, but maybe not everything. Maybe you were single when you did it and now you're married. Maybe you were married and now divorced. Maybe your friends and the relationships you had and the people you were entrusting at the time of doing your documents have changed. Assets changing is another huge one. What if you had a primary residence or you didn't own at all? You were a renter at the time you started this, and now you own a home and you have a rental property. Your net worth has now changed. The protections around your estate needs may have changed. The asset shifting can have fundamental changes in how the plan protects them. And then what about the law? Whether we like it or not, laws change. And a lot of times, even us attorneys don't have a whole lot of say in what that law change is going to be. But what we need to ensure as your attorney is that your plan is being kept up to date so that it is still fully legally valid if or when something happens. It is not an understatement to say that one of the biggest risks to your estate plan isn't that you didn't do it or even that it was done incorrectly. It is that it becomes outdated without you realizing it. And so one of the things the Access membership is designed to do is encourage you to come in and have that plan reviewed with us to ensure it is being really kept up to date. So for my existing Access members, which is likely a large portion of the people who are watching this, what has actually changed for you? So for, again, the last few decades, that plan has stayed very consistent. It really didn't change much on the introduction price for the most part, and it didn't really change on the benefits. Well, now you are being grandfathered into the new program, getting more benefits, but for no additional cost. So what you will see on this checklist is that now you can have what is called an annual plan review checklist. It's essentially going through, and once a year, we're recommending you pull out this checklist and say, okay, have I seen my attorney this year? Yes or no? Have I seen an education event this year? Yes or no? Have I ensured my assets are properly titled? Yes or no? So it's a checklist that we can provide our current Access members to help them organize, have I done all the things I need to on a more regular basis? The other thing our Access members receive is an annual credit. So what this means is if you do a change in a calendar year, you would have a reduction of what that change cost would be. Historically, that was $300. Now it is $400. So that has increased. I also mentioned a moment ago that our plan really had centered around estate planning. It didn't extend into these other departments. Well, we again know that you may be in the position of having to help administer a trust after your spouse dies or after a loved one dies. So now you also receive an hour of estate administration initial consultation as part of your Access membership, which can be fundamental in helping you figure out, okay, now what? What do I actually have to do and worry about? So it has extended into that department as well. Let's see, a couple of other things have been expanded. So you get exclusive event recordings and live streams. You also can receive, we have our sister company, Lifestyle Financial Services, that was started by our founder's wife a number of decades ago. If you need a financial planning review, you can have a complimentary one as a result of being our client and our Access membership client, so that you can go and see, are my finances working for my goals? I want to retire in 5 years. Am I on track? Or, hey, I already retired. Do I need to change my structure? And then a huge one that did not exist at all prior to this is being able to add your children and grandchildren to your membership during your lifetime. So one of the things I'm going to go over here in a moment is the cost of what it is to become a new member or to upgrade your membership. Historically, though, the membership was for you or for you and your spouse. If your kids or grandkids wanted their own membership, they had to do it at the full price like everybody else. But as a thank you, frankly, for you entrusting us not only now with yourself, but with your multiple generations, we're offering a discounted rate of 50% of that base cost, which can, again, be a huge now benefit for our Access members, extending those benefits down to their kids without losing any of their own. The other thing to note, and this is just a quick reminder, is a lot of our Access members forgot that they are able to, even if a friend or a family member isn't an Access member or a client of Koppen Barger, that they're able to refer people to us who get to benefit from their benefits without losing the benefits. So what does that mean? If I'm an Access member and my child is a 20-year-old off at college and I need them to get a healthcare directive, I can say, hey, my sweet, loving child, go see an attorney. I know that doesn't sound super fun, but the consultation is free. I need you to get a healthcare directive because it's imperative now that you're over 18. The healthcare is normally $400 to do, but hey, I'm an Access member, which means you, honey, don't have to pay anything. It gives me peace of mind. It gives you protection, but there's no money that needs to be exchanged. You're able to do that as many times as you want for anybody who is a new client to Koppen Barger without losing your own benefits. So that's just a reminder that we want to make sure all of our Access members are aware of, that any referrals, again, doesn't have to be related, can get those consultation hours waived and then the $400 planning credit applied. So I've mentioned a few times upgrading your plan and that it's expanded. Well, what does that actually look like? We now have 3 different program tiers. For all of our existing Access members, you are now considered Foundation Access members. You are the foundation, you have been grandfathered in, you have to pay nothing else, you get these extended benefits. If you are somebody new, Foundation may be something that you're interested in. Foundation is going to focus more on estate planning. So Foundation is, I don't have rentals, I don't really have a super complex estate, but I'm someone who really likes to be able to ask questions without always getting a bill. I'm somebody who maybe changes my mind a lot of times. And so, hey, unfortunately, whether I like it or not, I'm going to be seeing you every single year to possibly tweak things. And I'd like that $400 off when I have to come see you. Maybe you're somebody who's concerned that if I get injured and I can't come into a physical office, but I need to have an in-person appointment because I'm not super tech savvy, am I going to have to pay a huge bill for my attorney to come see me? I'd really like that to be waived, because one of the big benefits of being an Access member at any level is if you have a medical necessity that prevents you from getting to us, we will go to you free of charge. That can be a huge cost savings. And again, for a lot of our clients who maybe aren't as comfortable with Zoom, having that ability to keep an in-person relationship without incurring a huge bill can be fundamental and foundational to the relationship they're looking to have with us. We also now have what is called the Heritage tier. So it has all of the Foundation tier benefits, but is now expanded. This is where we're looking at, okay, maybe I have a much larger family, I have a more complicated estate, I have a rental property, I've got 15 grandchildren, and hey, I've even got now some great-grandchildren. I'm a little bit more complicated. The Foundation tier is great, but it may not expand to all of the needs I have. So that's where we've got our Heritage tier. One of the huge perks of being in the Heritage tier is not only are you able to use that $400 credit for somebody, you are also able to get free advanced health cares for any of your kids or grandkids once they've hit 18. So that now doubles that $400 essentially, because as I mentioned, the healthcare itself is in the $400 price range. So they could have that for free. And now if they needed a will, for example, because they have just enough that they need to start protecting it, the cost to do their will could be also reduced by another $400. So it expands the benefits not only to yourself, but that you can now also give your family members. All right, sorry, just peeking for questions. If you are somebody who has a small business, a medium business, a large business, this may be the tier for you. If you are somebody who has rental properties, this is very likely the more appropriate tier for you. If you are somebody who just, again, is going to have more questions, maybe more family involved, this again may be the tier for you. So again, we've got the Foundation where you've got great benefits that are more going to focus on estate planning. Then you've got your Heritage benefits that are starting to expand the complexity of what you may need. And then we have our Legacy tier. So this is the highest tier that you could hit. And this is going to definitely be for people who are not more complicated in a bad way, but maybe do have more needs of questions, maybe are going to have a higher risk potential that they need more of our involvement in. This is likely going to be somebody who very likely is going to need our business tax and advanced planning department during their lifetime, as well as the estate planning department. So this is again, this is again where your situation is getting more and more involved, I'll call it. Maybe not complicated, but at least involved. There are also people who are more concerned about the risk of litigation. Maybe they're in active litigation, or they're in a business that, hey, it's likely, unfortunately, that I could get sued at some point. There are certain industries where lawsuits are just more prevalent. And so if you fall into one of those industries, you may be somebody who would want more access for, again, a discounted rate to our litigation department. The other big perk in the Legacy tier is what is called the Successor Trustee Handbook. This is a handbook that is designed to help answer a lot of the questions that we get from people about, if I die, then what? What do I tell the person who's my trustee? What do I tell the person that's my trustee? What are they supposed to do? How do I get them this information? What if I'm a trustee? What am I supposed to do? It is designed to not answer everything, but at least to give you an idea of what is to come. One of the questions I got is describe more about the annual financial planning review. So that is, as I mentioned, with Lifestyle Financial Services, that's at least who we're going to work with when it comes to that complimentary meeting. What they are able to do is look through what are your finances right now, what are your goals, what are you looking to accomplish, and help you with that structure. Now, it doesn't mean you necessarily become a client. You're obviously welcome to, but it gives you somebody else to speak with. Now, there we go. So what does this cost? So that's obviously going to be one of the biggest questions. Now, again, current members, ignore this slide right now. This would be for brand new memberships where you're not entering under somebody else's and you're not a current member. So for anyone brand new, this is what you can expect. There's a one-time initiation cost. That's for your lifetime. It isn't paid again. But then there is also a monthly, you can think of it like a Netflix subscription that would be a monthly thing for the lifetime of your membership. So if you've got questions on that, let us know. We also do payment plans for that initiation fee. So if you need any financial assistance on that, please let us know. For my current Access members, you are grandfathered into that foundation tier. That means there's no additional initiation and there is no monthly. So for you, if you stay at the foundation level, you're good, you're golden. If you though want to upgrade, let's say you listen and you said, man, my situation is more complex at this point. I would love to have some of those other benefits. You are not paying the full initiation. You are taking what it would have been to enter the foundation and getting basically a credit towards that flat fee. So instead of you having the 68 or the 8,800, your flat fee would be 2,000 or 4,000. Now, if you upgrade, the monthly does kick in. And the reason we have monthlies is it's essentially a maintenance fee to ensure we really can keep serving everybody with this level of benefit, because these are significant benefits now that people are receiving. So that is why there is a monthly. But again, for current members, you can upgrade and that initiation cost is significantly reduced. Then for people who want to add their children or grandchildren, again, you take 50% of that base price and you slash it off. So again, instead of 48, 68, or 88, you have a discount for that. Again, there is the monthly. But again, this is now allowing that instead of them having to pay the full price if they wanted to become an Access member, they can get those same benefits without risking yours, without losing yours, but for a much lower price. So let's go through a few common scenarios. So at this point, you still may be wondering, well, is this really actually right for me? No, and I'm going to pause and answer the question. What happens if you move from California to another state? If you move, it doesn't mean our relationship has to end. It just may reduce the benefits that are applicable. The reason being, we can only practice in the state of California. So for example, if you have a litigation that is not tied to California at all, now our litigation attorney isn't able to be really of any assistance other than maybe general advice. For our estate planning, we can be more involved once you move out of California. But often, again, if you're not ever planning to return here, it may be more appropriate that you formed a relationship with an attorney somewhere else. So you may just by nature almost start to reduce your benefits that you're using. So moving doesn't say the membership ends, you've now severed that relationship. It just may reduce the effectiveness and benefit of actually being a client and an Access member. All right, so let me circle back to common scenarios. So again, you may be sitting here and wondering, okay, great. I get it in theory, but how would this actually play out? How would this actually look and benefit me if I'm going to sign up? So let's say you are somebody, you recently retired and you're wanting to update your durable power of attorney. Now, why am I talking about the durable power of attorney? Well, this is a document that is crucial if you become incapacitated. It is saying who has the financial ability to manage your finances, or I should say legal ability to manage your finances on your behalf. Well, unfortunately, banks have started rejecting these once they hit 5 years old. So right now we have clients where every 5 years they have to update this power of attorney. Without an Access membership, somebody would have to pay for our consultation, which right now is $260, and they would have to pay the full amount for that document, which for the durable power of attorney with notarization is $400 today. So for some people, that cost can cause them to say, I don't really have the money, I'm going to push that off. Or they say, well, is it really that important? Maybe I can risk letting it become lapsed and outdated. Because no matter what your situation is, $660 is not an inexpensive thing. It is crucial to have done, but maybe it's not in today's budget. With the Access membership, that consultation fee is waived and that $400 credit is applied, which if you're especially a single person means you just wiped out any cost that you would have needed to pay if you were not an Access member. And again, that it could be every 5 years. So in 5 more years, you have to come in and do that all over again. There's another $660 that you just avoided because you have an Access membership. Now, what if you're a married couple? For you, it's going to look maybe a little different. You still may have something to pay, but that consultation fee is waived and you're taking off at least that $400 if you're in our foundation tier. Now, if you're in one of our higher tiers, you also get what's called a plan amendment discount. So what does that mean? I come in with my husband, we want to update our powers of attorney because they've moved, we've moved, we're just not close to those people anymore, and I need to update my successor trustees. And it's only going to affect those documents. Well, ordinarily, again, you're paying a consultation fee. That now got waived. You would be paying for 2 documents, it would be the $800. And now you're changing your amendment, you're changing your trust. Well, with the higher tiers for the amendment portion, not only did you get the $400 off, you also get a percentage discount for the amendment portion. So again, it's essentially a thank you to our clients for saying, hey, you're going to keep using us. It's a continued relationship that you're expecting to have, and we appreciate that you continue to return to us. So that's one of the additional benefits as you upgrade the tiers that would apply as well. Now, I mentioned hospital visits. What if you are somebody who suffered a serious health event and you are hospitalized unexpectedly? You're still competent, but you're going to be stuck in a recovery center for a long period of time. But you've got a business that's still being run. You have your trust. You've got real estate. You're worried it's coming up on tax season. Oh my gosh, this is not the time I want to be stuck in the hospital, unable to go and have those attorney appointments that I had set. This is unfortunately not an uncommon thing that we see. I don't know if you've noticed, when things go wrong, it's not typically at a convenient time, and often it's at a very stressful time. Things don't go wrong when life is treating us well. It often happens at, again, the worst possible moment. Well, the last thing we want somebody in that situation to have to do is decide not to get their necessary needs met or their questions answered because they're simply concerned about cost. The other thing we don't want is for them to be unable to access us because they are trapped physically in wherever they are. And so, as I mentioned, rather than attorney's fees having to be applied because it is on an hourly basis when we travel, now with the Access membership, that travel is now complimentary. So I mentioned it waives then an hourly fee. So instead of you having to pay my hourly rate to drive an hour there and an hour back, that just got waived. So you can imagine, again, when you're in crisis scenarios, that now is one of the ways that these advanced memberships can end up helping you. And especially, again, if you have a more complex situation, having access to us, even when things go wrong, and especially, frankly, when things go wrong, can be crucial. And then another scenario. So let's talk about the legacy tier. So Maria, she's got a living trust. She owns her home, and she wants to ensure that her children are prepared to manage her affairs in the future. She's got a very complicated family situation. She is very worried that, hey, if I hand this off to them, I don't know that they'll know what to do with it. I really want to make sure they've got guidance not only when I'm gone, but even when I'm still here. This is again where it's not necessarily a legal need. You may not be trying to update a document. You may not need to do anything, but you have a lot of questions and a lot of fear about what happens if I die and they don't know what to do. Without the Access membership, this is something where somebody likely wouldn't contact us because they don't want to incur a huge bill just for basically Q&A. Again, I don't legally need it, but I'm not getting the right answers on Google. I'd really like to be able to sit down and ask these questions. With the Access membership, and with the Legacy membership, this is where those benefits really start to expand into the family and making sure that not just you have what you need, but that they are set up for success even after you are gone. So that support, that legacy, that foundation, all of it ties together to say, it's not just me that I want to make sure is protected. It's going to be all of us. All right. So first and foremost, are there any questions that I have not answered? So now is the time. Throw them in the chat, throw them in the Q&A if you have any that we did not answer. While you are doing that, one of the things I want to note is that from this point for another 30 days, if you are interested in signing up for the Access membership, you would receive your first year of membership fees free. So that $20, $30, or $40 a month would be waived for the next 12 months if you sign up in the next 30 days. So if you fall into any category that monthly would then be applicable, again, this is where it would be a benefit to you to sign up soon. But again, I'll wait for any questions, but thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully this was a good webinar that answered a lot of the questions about what is this new program? What are these new tiers? Why would I want to be an Access member? And why would I want to work with Koppen Barger for my future and my family's? If you do have questions, let us know. One of the things in the chat is also there is a survey. Not only can you let us know how we did, but you can also let us know, do you want to sign up? Do you not want to sign up, or do you need more information? You want us to give you a call? All right. Well, thank you again. As again, questions come in, I will be answering them. One of the questions is, do we remind you every 5 years to update your power of attorney? So not across the board. For some of my clients who specifically ask, I have reminders for them. However, that, again, we serve 43,000 people. That would be a lot of people that I have to keep a specific date always in mind. What I actually recommend is, again, whether you're a client or an Access member, you come in and see us if you're Access every year. But even if you're a client, at least every 3 to 5 years. That way we can take a look at the document and say, okay, you're still good for another 2, or hey, you've got to come in, we've got to get this up to date. Are we able to assist successor trustees if they live in a different state? So if they're your trustee, but you lived here and the administration is going to be based in California, the answer is yes. The problem would be if you moved out of California and you had no connection to California, likely at that point, they would want to work with somebody more local just for convenience. And in some cases, we're not able to because, again, we're licensed only here. But if they live out, but you lived here, that's completely fine. The online web form, I'm going to ask my team if you could re-put the link in the chat for people. It was at the beginning, but we'll do the web form right now. The QR code you could scan immediately, but the webinar is going to be made available. We generally try to get this out within a week or sooner, so not a whole lot of time. And if you're registered, you will be receiving the recording. All right. I'll pause again, see if any other questions come in. But otherwise, for those of you who got your questions answered or you're ready to fill out that survey, please feel free to jump into the survey, and we look forward to continuing, hopefully, the relationship with you and potentially welcoming you as a new or continued Access member. All right, it looks like there are currently no other questions coming in. So again, thank you everybody who joined us. We will get the recording out. If you want a copy of the slides, let us know. And again, I really appreciate you taking some time with Caitlin and I today. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day and week. Thank you.